Good morning. In the earlier lecture, we have started uncertainty principle and we arrived at certain equation. We have drawn the figures showing superimposition of two wave functions to get a wave group or wave packet related with the de Broglie wave, and the equation we arrived, the last equation we arrived in the previous lecture is and this is equation number, I don't remember the equation number. Now let me call this 6. You continue with the number you already have for this delta x. So we got in the last lecture delta x is equal to 2 pi delta k. Delta x is the uncertainty in the measurement of position of a particle in motion. The figure we have drawn using two wave functions psi1 and psi2. Psi1 a cos omega t minus kx, psi2 a cos omega plus d omega t minus k plus dk x. After these two waves allowed to superimpose on each other and mathematically solving this, we found that two waves are superimposed, one with propagation constant k, other with propagation constant k plus dk delta k, to get the wave group, the wave packet. Here we want to do accurate measurement of the propagation constant k, and we hope to do accurate measurement of the propagation constant k, but there is inherent uncertainty in the measurement of the propagation constant delta k, inherent, which is always there. We cannot avoid this uncertainty. This uncertainty delta k in the measurement of the propagation constant of the wave group, wave packet, is therefore given by delta k is equal to 2 pi divided by delta x. Delta k is equal to 2 pi divided by delta x, equation number 7. Now let us go back to the de Broglie hypothesis. According to de Broglie hypothesis, we have lambda is equal to h divided by p, wavelength of the particle in motion with momentum p is given by lambda is equal to h divided by p. The propagation constant related with this wavelength will be k is equal to 2 pi divided by lambda. Propagation constant related with this de Broglie wave is k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. Let us substitute value of this lambda from this equation into equation 9 to get k is equal to 2 pi p divided by h, equation number 10. When you substitute lambda is equal to h by p, p will go to denominator of denominator, so it will come to the numerator and you will get this k is equal to 2 pi p divided by h. As there is uncertainty delta x related with delta k, uncertainty delta k may also be related with uncertainty in the measurement of momentum p. To get the uncertainty in the measurement of momentum p with respect to the uncertainty delta k in the measurement of propagation constant can be obtained as, for that purpose we have to manipulate equation 10. Let me manipulate equation 10 as p is equal to h divided by 2 pi into k, and that is nothing but delta p is equal to h divided by pi into delta k, equation 11. From this equation is written, if delta p is the uncertainty in the measurement of momentum of the moving body, delta k will be the uncertainty in the wave group, uncertainty in the propagation constant of the wave group. But value of delta k is found somewhere here, equation number 7. In equation 7, value of delta k is found. Let us put delta k is equal to 2 pi by delta x in equation 11. Let us substitute equation 7 into equation 11 to get delta p is equal to h divided by 2 pi into 2 pi divided by delta x. 2 pi get cancel. You may take this delta x to this side to get delta x into delta p is equal to h, equation number 12. That is product of uncertainty in the measurement of position of the moving body at some instant of time and uncertainty in the measurement of momentum of the same moving particle at the same instant of time is equal to h, equation 12. Equation 12 is not correct expression. More correct expression is this. Instead of writing delta p into delta x is equal to h, It is generally written as delta x into delta p greater than is equal to h by 2 pi. That is delta x into delta p greater than is equal to h cross. What is h cross? H cross is h divided by 2 pi. Why equation 13 is used instead of equation 12? The reason is, when we observe shapes of the wave groups, we find that shapes of the wave groups are different. Variations are there in the shapes of the wave groups associated with the moving particle, moving body, and therefore to keep track of this, instead of delta x into delta p is equal to h, delta x into delta p greater than is equal to h cross is always used as the uncertainty principle, is always used as the mathematical statement of uncertainty principle. This statement was first obtained by Heisenberg. The physicist Heisenberg first obtained this type of statement, and therefore uncertainty principle is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Such statement, such derivation was carried out by Heisenberg and got this as the statement. So this uncertainty principle will be Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So Heisenberg's uncertainty principle can be defined as the product of uncertainty in the measurement of position of a moving particle at some instant of time, and uncertainty in the measurement of momentum of that particle at the same instant of time is always greater than equal to h cross. Delta x is inherent uncertainty in the position measurement. Delta p is the inherent uncertainty in the momentum measurement. Uncertainty in delta p may be decreased and you may get more correct value for momentum measurement if you consider wide wave group. If you consider wide wave group, measurement of momentum may be more accurate. But what will happen? Uncertainty in the measurement of position will be increased, and the product of these two will be always this one. Conversely, you may try to increase accuracy of measurement of position of the particle by considering a narrow wave group. Consider a narrow wave group. If we consider a narrow wave group, you may find very accurately the position of the moving particle. But at that time, the uncertainty in the measurement of momentum will be increased, and therefore the product will be always greater than or equal to h cross. It means that if you try to increase the accuracy of momentum measurement, uncertainty in the measurement of position will increase. Conversely, if you try to increase accuracy in the measurement of the position of the moving body, uncertainty in the measurement of momentum will increase. It means that the uncertainties, let me call inherent uncertainties in the measurement of position and in the measurement of momentum of a moving body, of a moving particle simultaneously is the limit of the universe. It is not limit of the instruments we use to do the measurement. This is the limit posed. This is the limit set by the universe. This is the uncertainty present in the universe. This uncertainty is not present in our calculations. It is not present in the instruments we use to measure the position and momentum of the body in motion, of the particle in motion. This is one way of getting the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Other way, instead of using wave nature of particle for measurement of uncertainty, we may consider particle nature of waves. We may consider particle nature of waves to discuss the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Now, whenever you want to do any measurement, you have to probe something else. You have to probe something so that it will bring back the measurement. Let us suppose that you want to do the measurement of position and momentum. What things will happen there? The particle which is in motion should be under your observation. That is, you should be able to observe. You should be able to watch the particle. And how do you watch or observe the particle? If light from the particle is reflected, light from the particle is entering into your eyes, you can observe the particle, moving particle, you can watch the moving particle. We need help of various probes for these measurements. Measurement of the position, measurement of mass, measurement of velocity, then measurement of momentum, etc., etc. For simplicity, let us suppose that you have an electron, and this electron is not at rest. This electron is in motion, and you are asked to detect this electron, observe this electron, so that you can measure the position of electron at certain instant of time. You can measure the momentum of that electron at certain instant of time. Whenever you are asked to do the measurement, you may need to do many things. You should observe what is happening, what is going on there. Then we can do the measurement of that. Sometimes you may need to touch the body with your finger. You may need to watch that body with the help of light. So many things are needed for various probing purposes, which can brings us some result of the measurement. Let us suppose that I have an electron, this electron is in motion and I have to do measurement of the electron. What measurement I have to do? I want to measure the position of the electron at certain instant of time, and simultaneously at the same instant of time I want to measure the momentum. What I have to do? Electron is very minute particle. It is a subatomic particle, very, very small. And human beings' eyes can see, can watch anything if and only if reflected light from that is entering into the human being's eye. Then only the human beings can observe the things and can do the measurement. If a human being is asked to do some experiment in complete dark, instead of two big eyes of the human being will be blind. Without light, human being is blind. It can see, it can watch anything just because of the light energy. Eyes were interested in making the measurement corresponding to electron. It means that I have to allow at least one photon from the visible region of light to fall on the electron. When a photon falls on electron, the photon will strike the electron and bounce back. The photon will strike the electron and bounce back. When the photon bounces back after striking the electron, what will happen? Momentum of the electron will change. Why? Because the photon has certain energy given by E is equal to h nu. As the photon has struck the electron and bounced back, it has changed the momentum of the photon. We may not able to find exact change in momentum of the electron. For simplicity, let me consider change in momentum of the electron is equal to the momentum of the photon. And what is momentum of the photon? Momentum of the photon of zero rest mass is lambda is equal to h divided by p, or p is equal to h divided by lambda, equation number 14. P is momentum of the photon. It means that p is equal to h by lambda is the change in momentum of the electron when I tried to probe the electron with the help of a photon. And what I find here, h is Planck's constant, but this photon is also related with lambda, and there is inverse relation between this wavelength lambda and photon p. If I want minimum change in the photon of the electron, this lambda should be large. That is, if I use longer wavelengths from the visible region, the change in momentum of the electron will be minimum. So P will be minimum if lambda is very, very large. One thing. Second thing, you want to measure momentum of the electron which is in motion at the same time you wanted to measure the position of the electron. Electron is very minute. The wavelengths of visible light also very small. They are in angstrom. For simplicity, let me assume that because of striking and bounce back of this photon from the electron, there is a change in the position of the electron which is of the order of, there is a change in measurement of position of the photon which is of the order of wavelength of the photon used, and so that will introduce delta x is approximately equal to lambda. Here I can write delta p is equal to h divided by lambda. If lambda is longer, delta p will be smaller, uncertainty smaller, accuracy in the measurement will be large. Come to this equation. What we find here, if lambda is larger, delta x is larger. It means that if we select longer lambda, momentum may be measured accurately, but there will be more uncertainty in the measurement of position by delta x. If we select this lambda in equation 14 and 15 of shorter and shorter wavelength, let us select this lambda and this lambda of very short wavelength. What will happen? If this is very short, delta p will increase. It means that if we use shorter wavelengths for this purpose, uncertainty in the measurement of momentum of the electron will be increased. In this case, you may measure accurately the position of the electron. Let us substitute lambda is equal to delta x from 15 into 14 to get delta p is equal to h divided by delta x, and so delta x into delta p is equal to h, equation number 16. If you use Fourier analysis for one wave group, you will find that delta k we found earlier corresponding to only one wave packet, only one wave group. But if we consider all the possible wave groups, this delta k will be corresponding to 2 pi, and in that case, for all shapes of the wave packets, let us consider delta x into delta p greater than or equal to h by 2 pi. This is nothing but delta x into delta p greater than is equal to h cross, equation number 17. So whether we use the wave nature of a particle in quantum mechanics or you use particle nature of wave, you find that simultaneous measurement of position and momentum is not possible. If you are doing simultaneous measurement, what will happen? If you get x accurate, there will be more uncertainty in delta P. If we measure momentum more accurately by any means, there will be more uncertainty in delta X. So, according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, delta X and delta P are the inherent uncertainties in the measurement of position and momentum of a moving body. These uncertainties are not in our measurement. These uncertainties are not in our instruments. These uncertainties are not in our calculations. These uncertainties are present in the nature, in the universe, because of which this uncertainty principle is true. If you go for this H cross, you find that this H cross is H divided by 2 pi, and if you are asked to find value of H cross as H by 2 pi, it will be 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second divided by 2 pi, and the result will come as 1.054 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. This is value of H, and what we see, 1.054 is approximately equal to 1 into 10 to the power minus 34. Too small, very small. It means that uncertainty in delta P and delta X and delta P is very small, 10 to the power minus 34, of the order of 10 to the power minus 34, and therefore this is the uncertainty lying in the universe, present in the universe, present in the nature. It is not in our measurement, it is not in our instruments. This H cross, which is 1.054 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, is taken as a standard unit of angular momentum. In quantum mechanics, this H cross, which is equal to 1.054 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, is taken as standard unit of measurement of angular momentum. This is about the uncertainty principle. Here I have considered both the views, wave nature of particle as well as particle nature of wave, and considering all these things and solving the expressions we needed, finally in both according to both views we arrived at the Heisenberg uncertainty principle here as well as here, which are always true because these uncertainties are present in the nature, in the universe. By making use of this uncertainty principle, we shall solve some problems in the last article of this unit, applications of uncertainty principle. Hope you understood this fully. If you have any problem, you may please interact with me. In the next lecture, we shall go for the last article of this unit, applications of uncertainty principle. Thank you.